Thank you. So hello everyone and welcome. As Mara just mentioned, here in Israel, starting yesterday evening and continuing through essentially now another hour or so, we're commemorating Yom HaZikaron, which is Israel's Memorial Day, to honor and remember the lives that have been lost in wars and terror attacks since the country's founding. And then immediately after Yom HaZikaron ends, we transition to celebrating Yom HaAtzmaut, which is Israel's Independence Day. And it's always a jarring transition, but this year it seems like a particularly impossible one. And in some ways, thinking about this moment that we're having here, it seems like a metaphor for the process of sickness. How do you indulge in relief when the illness has not been healed? How do you celebrate recovery when the wound is still open? So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, wait, if I can share my screen, that would be great.
You should now have the
Oh,
ability.
excellent. Excellent. So, in some sense, a potential response to these questions was right there all along. Psalm 23, which you can see here, is possibly one of the most famous parts of the Torah. It's used in Jewish ritual life, it's used in Christian prayer, it's part of popular culture. Anyone who remembers Coolio's Gangster's Paradise, so that's maybe the most famous example, and there are many others of it being used. I'll read the psalm now in English for those who are able and who would like to. Feel free to follow along in the Hebrew. So Psalm 23, a psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The Lord makes me to lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside the still waters. God restores my soul. God guides me in straight paths for God's name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou prepares a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runs over, or my cup runneth over. Many people recognize that phrase. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So we could stop here. I could discuss how in the shadow of death and fear and dark moments, what brings us through is the feeling that someone is with us. God, a family member, a friend, anyone or anything who can make us feel less alone. I could talk about how the psalmist emphasizes the physical and the physical sensations and the interplay between the physical and the psychological and the spiritual. All of these are interesting and legitimate paths to take. But I want to go in a little bit of a different direction and to read a poem that I discovered recently by the poet Stuart Kestenbaum. So, I'm sorry, I'm just going to scroll for a second. Psalm. The only psalm I had memorized was the 23rd, and now I find myself searching for the order of the phrases, knowing it ends with surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Only I remember seeing a new translation from the original Hebrew, and forever wasn't forever, but a long time, which is different from forever, although even a long time today would be good enough for me. Even a minute entering the house would be good enough for me. Even a hand on the door or dropping today's newspaper on the stoop or looking in the windows that are reflecting this morning's clouds in first light. So this understanding of, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever as instead a long time, even a long time today, even a minute, even a hand on the door, for me really gives me a new understanding of what this moment is, both with us together, both in the transition between Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut. When we take time to celebrate Yom HaAtzmaut under the shadow of Yom HaZikaron, when we breathe a sigh of relief at the reprieve from the pain of sickness, we're letting ourselves exist in a moment of possibility. It's the possibility that we can live in a state of celebration and peace, the possibility that we can live in a state without pain, the possibility that our wounds will heal. We allow ourselves to dwell in the house of the Lord, whether literally or metaphorically. And it may not be forever, but even a moment can sometimes be good enough and exactly what we need. I wish you all healing for yourselves, for your loved ones, for our people, and for the world. And we'll say the Sheberach.
Thank you. And I just want to note that we will share the recording to this along with the source sheet. A lot of people are asking for that beautiful poem, Rabbi. So we'll make sure to do that.
Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech v'Yirapeh et HaCholim Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Alehem Lachlimam U'Rapotam Lachazikam U'Lachayotam Yishlach Lahem Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh U'Refuat HaGuf B'toch Shar Cholei Yisrael Hashta Ba'agala V'Zman Kariv B'Nomar Amen. Let the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal the sick. The Holy One will have mercy on, may the Holy One have mercy on them, to heal and cure them, to keep them alive. May the Holy One send them a complete cure from heaven, the cure of the soul and the cure of the body, among the rest of the sick of Israel. And let us say, Amen.
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 Thank you, Rabbi.
Amen.
Yasher
Thank
Koah,
you,
Rabbi.
Thanks,
Thank you, Rabbi and Mara.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Mara.
Yasher Koah.
Thanks, Mara.